Hey, YouTube, this is Alice at Wonderland Speaks, and I am multitasking. Like most women, I kind of been washing all day, and I do want to apologize because I know that during some of my videos, you can hear all that knocking. Ouch, ow, 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 ow. That noise is my washer. Washers, when they're in the spin cycle, they I'm coming, I'm over here putting this load in. I'm coming. Let me just delete all that because you couldn't see me. So yeah. Like I said, it is disheartening, frustrating. Speaking of, what is going on here? Speaking of, again, I would imagine he's given me enough material for a whole series. I just felt so bad for these women. And don't get me wrong, I've known many women, many. I would almost say maybe 75% of the women of my generation didn't get married. I know lots of women who never got married. They were never asked. I guess I'm one of the lucky ones. I've never had an issue with that. I'm not bragging. I'm discussing pedigrees. I stated in the last video that I said I'm not marriage material, and that's only in my own self-discovery that I realized I'm not built like that up here. I've worked very hard on myself and my mentality and how I view life and people and how I interact with people, and I know in relationships it requires great sacrifice. And I have had to ask myself, especially these past 2 years with the pandemic, what am I willing to sacrifice? Well, you know the conclusion I came to. Not a damn thing. That's where I'm at in my life. I'm not sacrificing anything because I don't have to. I don't have to. Now, I know that I've been married enough for a few people, okay? Because a couple of my husbands, we married 2 or 3 times. You might say, what the hell? Maybe we just like being before the judge or the preacher. I don't know. The whole ceremony aspect of it. You've heard the analogy of people spending, and it's a very real thing. People get focused on the ceremony and the wedding day, and they spend all these thousands of dollars. Some spend millions for that day. Not one thought to the actual marriage. And so most people don't make it because more than 50% do divorce. That's our reality. Those are our numbers today. So with that in mind, I come straightforward. Some would say I'm a straight shooter. Um, I'm very honest when it comes to relationships and what I will and will not do. So you're not going to be surprised. The flip side of that is I'm always surprised. I tell men when I meet them that unlike a lot of people that carry a lot of baggage, don't get me wrong, I'm no different than anybody else. I carry baggage. The difference is I'm not going to judge you based on maybe what somebody else did. I don't do that. And I tell men that when we get together, I would never blame you for the pain that somebody else caused me. I believe if I'm angry, and I know some angry people, and I ask them all the time, why are you so angry? Do you even know why you're mad? You know, because some people can be mad so long they don't even know why. It's become such a part of who they are. They're just mad. So I tell them that if I'm angry at you, it wouldn't be fair for me to give that to somebody else. Any anger I got for you, I'm going to give it to you. If there's going to be any kind of retaliation, that's all for you. Oh, every bit of it is for you. I think that's only fair. Okay, with that in mind, what generally happens, or I should say, what has happened in my case, is these men lie. I talked about my do's and don'ts, what I will, what I won't, and what I expect. Now, I do agree with being upfront about things when you meet someone, especially when you're serious. Or I do agree with being deliberate when your goal is to marry. That means that's your focus. I already practiced that. When I got married, there were times I would meet men and they would ask me, oh, I know you got a man, you got a man. I said, no, right now I'm between husbands. And they just thought that was so funny. They said, well, why do you say that? I said, because I am. I have been married. I will marry again. So whatever's happening right now, that's between husbands. That's what it is. So they just thought that was so funny. Okay, it's funny. My demeanor is very, I don't give a damn. But they eat it up. I can't explain that. I don't try. The point is, when I was out looking for a husband, when we're sitting there talking and they're not really saying anything about themselves, I mean, they're talking, but you're not really finding out the information that you need. I'm observing and I'm listening while he's trying to find out what I do, what I'm going to do. I listen and I watch. And I've been disappointed because they're not honest at all. As Chris Rock said in one of his skits, I think it was Bigger and Blacker, he said, don't you know when you meet somebody, you're meeting their representative? It's like a job, and you go for an interview. The person is putting their best foot forward. You're getting their best when you meet them. You don't know that because women still today believe, today, in December 2022, they still believe when they get with a man and he's full of holes, meaning he's very flawed, they really believe they can change him. Something I learned the hard way. You can't change people. You change you. That's who changes. That person doesn't change. You change. You don't realize that's what has happened. That's why so many women go into these situations thinking, I can train him. I can get him the way I want him to be. You will spend a lifetime hoping that in the end you will get the result you wanted and you will be disappointed. Am I saying all men disappoint? I came out here to Las Vegas. I had been in a relationship down south. I used to live in Georgia for like 2 years. I dated this guy. I would say when I was around, because during that time I was over the road. I drove. That was my job. So when I was around, I would stay at his house, I mean, I wasn't there that much because I would get antsy real quick. And this is the most stable, stationary I've ever been since the pandemic. This right here, this is the most I've ever done. The moral of the story is there really a moral to the story? Um, I think that there needs to be a cleansing. I didn't wake up one day and just know this stuff. I didn't decide one day I was going to marry a white man. I was already dating him. But see, to me, the test was, and that's just me, my test was, if he'd marry me, I knew he really loved me. And that's why I say in my video, you will know if that white man wants to marry you. You will know. And it won't be long. You won't date for years. Because when I meet men and I tell them my goal is to marry, and if that's not their mission, we don't have anything to do. Because see, I'm not so overwhelmed by you that I'm going to forget my mission. I can take you or leave you. I want women to develop this mentality so that they can get what they want. That means they have to keep their head. Don't get caught up in the okie doke of all that stuff he's telling you, which is what he thinks you want to hear. And you lapping it up because it sounds good, and to you, he looks good. So what else do I need? Oh, it's a whole lot you need. But anyway, that's another video.